Welcome back, Wild Harvest Heroes. Today, we're diving into the essential techniques for successful bow hunting. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this guide will sharpen your skills and help you bring home that prized harvest. So grab your gear and let's embark on this exhilarating journey into the heart of bow hunting mastery. Bow hunting is a skill that is more efficient and more accurate. So let's start the video with basic to pro tips. After watching complete video, you can master the skill of bow hunting. Number 1. Back to basics. Sure, you know the steps. Stand with feet and shoulder apart with little space. Point toes slightly to the target. Grip the bow lightly in your offhand. Pull straight back. Hold the string on the side of your face. Squeeze to release and continue to shoot. For better accuracy, shoot with both eyes open and make sure the string rests on the same point each time you shoot. These basic steps are your key to a killer shot, and without them you might develop bad hunting habits. Number 2. Make every shot count. Do the basics. Get comfortable with short shots before placing too much arc under your arrow. Observe your shape in every shot and use this to improve where you're lacking. Is it in position, targeting, or placing of bowstring hand? Start at 10 meters and back up 10 meters after doing 5 shots, or when the arrows are touching the next. Number 3. Stop and take a rest. Never take your body for granted. Rest when you get tired. You can do anything from jogging down the street to doing other activities like golf. In order to maintain a good shape, you should gain mental strength and become physically active. There is enough time to sleep, so do everything that can keep your mind and body active while you're awake. Number 4. Get in your best form. Whether it's swinging a golf club to better hit the ball in the right direction or jogging on the street for hours, it requires a substantial amount of physical and mental strength to retain a good form. This is an important step to make yourself ready for the next deer hunting trip. Being physically and mentally strong is the key to a successful bow hunting game, especially if you are going after an elk or antelope. Elks don't just stay in one place, even if food, shelter, and security are available, while antelopes move fast. Number 5. Practice shooting from a stand. Do you hunt from a stand? If so, practicing from one can help you prepare for the bow hunting season. If you're not able to do it, try shooting from any elevated surface like the balcony of your house or any downhill place. The position of your body and how it interacts with your bow, shot angle, and aim point change when you're shooting from a stand. If you want to practice this seriously, go and wear your clothes, glove and mask you'd wear in a stand. Number 6. Hold the draw. You're in the stand in full gear. The weather is hot and you are sweating. This is the worst and most anticipated scenarios when practicing bow hunt from a stand. So now, begin picturing a target and hold for 30 seconds to a minute before releasing. During the interval, imagine an elk or white-tailed deer standing on the edge of the shooting lane. This is critical when you are in the real hunting game, because animal movements are unpredictable. Number 7. Always make room for improvements. You never know how to bow hunt for different types of deer in Australia until you experience seeing them live in the wild. Also, you will not know how to draw an arrow to a group of deer until you came to that moment. Even when your arrow successfully hits the vitals of the target, you can never repeat the moment. However, regular practice can enhance your bow hunting skills. Doing few shots in the yard is better than nothing. Before going to the woods or backyard for bow hunting practice, checking your equipment is paramount. Bow hunting for beginners. Of all the types of hunting known today, the real challenge to the hunter is precisely hunting with a bow. If preparation for hunting with a gun takes a maximum of several months, then practice for bow hunting can take a whole year. We are talking here not only about how this technique can be mastered in a couple of months of training, but mainly about the behavior of an archer hunter in the very process of hunting. So, let's take a closer look at everything a novice bow hunter needs to know. This type of hunting is sometimes considered a sport. A man put on his back a 20-kilogram duffel bag stuffed with all sorts of food and accessories, and the hunter with a bow walks kilometers through the forest in search of prey. And when the frozen and aching muscles lose their elasticity, he can no longer realize the moment and make a successful shot. His hands are trembling, and his eyes are flooded with sweat. Professionals recommend carrying 10 kilograms without much effort, so that your hands do not tremble with fatigue. Equipment will only be helpful if it can be used. If your strength allows you to carry an extra 10 kilograms without any problems, take it to your health. If not, dare to admit it to yourself and take the load according to your strength. Important tip: start practicing archery as soon as you buy it. It is necessary to focus on two things: to shoot accurately and to strengthen the muscles of the hands to control the bow freely. Once the bubble has already been bought and the beginner is serious about doing this, one of the most exciting leisure activities, it's time to do the most important thing after buying equipment: develop shooting techniques. Archery professionals practice shooting on the so-called 3D models. 3D animal archery teaches you how to properly aim at an animal to hit it from any distance cleanly. When it comes to shooting from different distances, one cannot fail to mention how important it is to determine at what distance you are shooting most effectively. The noble animal you are hunting is worthy of your best shot, not a hastily fired shot from the wrong space, in the hope that you can hit the target no matter what. Regular training and scouting in the woods before the start of the hunting season will ensure that you will have a good chance when you are within the bow range of an animal. How to choose a bow for a beginner. Suppose you are just starting in this beautiful sport. In that case, the best thing you can do is to purchase all the necessary archery equipment in a specialized crossbow archery center for professionals to save much time and avoid much trouble. You may have to pay a little more than in any large retail store, but you will be sure you bought what you need. In a good bow, everything should match your personality. It must be borne in mind that, in addition to the length of the bowstring, many other subtleties must be taken into consideration before you start thinking about hunting. All costs will pay off in the long run if you use the help of experienced archers from the very beginning, whose advice is worth its weight in gold. After all, you don't become professionals overnight. You won't recognize all the subtleties of a rhinestone. You need time and competent advice. So, before choosing a bow, let's take a closer look at the types of bows. Types of bows for hunting. The long bow, or straight limb bow, is the oldest and most simple of all bows. Originally, these bows were made of a simple piece of wood, whittled to be a fairly symmetrical, long, thin shape, and a piece of animal hide or braided horsetail string was attached at each end. Traditionally, the ends of the bow had notches where string fit into and a knot was tied to keep the string from slipping through the end of the limb. This is the type of bow that natives and ancient Romans used for both hunting and battle. Many indigenous tribes all over the globe still use long bows for everyday survival. Like everything else, long bows have become more advanced with technology and better materials. Today, most long bows are made from laminated wood, and some are made of synthetic materials. Many traditional archers, those that use long bows or recurve bows, make their own bows with custom wood inlays or pieces of animal bone or snake skin for aesthetics. The shape and function of these bows is no different than it was hundreds of years ago. Long bows typically don't use arrow rests or sights, but simply have an arrow shelf that is a flat spot where the arrow sits both at rest and at full draw. Recurve bows are very similar to long bows, except, as the name states, the end of the limbs curve away from the archer. The curve in the limbs is designed to store more energy than that of a straight limb bow, and therefore propel an arrow at higher velocity. Most traditional recurve shooters still opt out of using any accessories such as sights and arrow rests, but in past decades these bows have been built to accept modern-day sights and rests. Recurve bows of the 21st century are far different in appearance than those of earlier days. Modern-day target archers shoot recurves that look extremely similar and are made of the same materials as the most cutting-edge compound bows. In a comparison of the long bow and recurve, most hardcore traditional hunters select a long bow because of its relatively unchanging persona. Bow hunters that want to try their hand at shooting traditional bows typically opt for the recurve because it is more forgiving and can achieve the same velocities of long bows with a lighter draw weight. Make no mistake about it. Shooting a recurve or long bow with 0% let-off is a far cry from a 70% let-off compound bow. 2. Compound bow. Developed in the 1960s, the compound bow had about as much in common with traditional bows as the Model A in a horse-draw carriage. The compound bow took little more than the shape and string from the long bow to become an entirely new animal. If you ask a bow hunter to draw you a picture of a bow, this is most likely what you'll see. Compound bows are made of 5 basic parts: riser, limbs, cams or wheels, and the string jar cable assembly. Click here for the complete anatomy of a compound bow. The riser is the foundation of the bow. It holds the sights, arrow rest, and stabilizer, if these accessories are desired, and it has the limbs attached to it. The limbs of compound bows were originally made of wood, but advanced technology has developed fiberglass and resin materials that are significantly stronger, longer lasting, and more efficient. The limbs of the bow are where the energy is stored. When the shooter draws the bow, the limbs flex, storing the energy until the release of the string, where they spring back to their original location. Bow hunting videos. Category cams or wheels go hand in hand with the string or cable assembly of a compound bow. When the string is pulled back, the cams rotate, and cables pull on the opposite limb and cam to store the energy in the limbs. When the string is released, the limbs return to their original position. When the limbs spring back, the cables rapidly rotate the cams forward, which accelerates the string and propels the arrow. It seems significantly less complicated when you shoot a compound bow than when you read about the mechanics. Crossbow. Possibly the one topic in the bow hunting world that will get more people fired up than any other is the crossbow discussion. Love them or hate them, they are indeed archery equipment. Essentially, a crossbow is simply a compound bow mounted horizontally on a stock, similar to a rifle stock, with a standard trigger rather than using a mechanical release. The bow is drawn with the use of a cocking device that pulls the string back and locks it into a jaw, not much different than your standard wrist release. From there, the trigger is squeezed to allow the string to retract. Just the same, a compound bow operates, and it propels the arrow downrange. So guys, as our bow hunting adventure comes to a close, remember to subscribe to Wild Harvest Heroes for more expert tips, thrilling hunts, and wilderness wisdom. Share your own bow hunting experiences in the comments below, and until next time, stay wild and keep harvesting those unforgettable moments in nature. Happy hunting, heroes!